Hi, it's Mike Stevenson here. So I want to talk today about the Integrate 2024 Summit. So there's a little URL up at the top here. Um, this is an event that we hold every year in London. It's focused on integration using Microsoft technologies, and it's kind of been the premier sort of event for integration professionals in that Microsoft space for many years. So this year it's in London. It's the 10th and 12th of June. It's at a place called King's Place. So anyone who's not familiar with London, one of the main train stations in London's King's Cross, and it's kind of just down the road a little bit from King's Cross, so it should be really easy for people to get to. Um, we're going to have a quick look about some of the plans for the event. So if I scroll down the list a bit, you can see there's some pictures coming up from last year's event. You can see how many people were there. I think we had about 500 people in total at the event. So I want to kind of do a quick shout out for some of the speakers we've got. So we've got people like Logic App product team here. So people like Wagner and Kent and Slava will hopefully be here. We've got Service Bus team. So we've got Clemens, Kevin. Always really great content from those guys. And then we've got people from the API management team, for example, down here. There'll be other product team members in town as well, I'm sure, but these are the guys who we get most years from the product teams. In addition to that, we've got some excellent community speakers. So people like Nino does a lot of really good security sessions, always very sort of deep thinking content around how security affects integration. Matthias is from Sweden. You got to love the. I don't know if you can quite see, but last year his jacket there was actually a full suit with Super Mario Brothers on. So Matthias always has some really good architecture and technical sessions. Toon's the same. Toon, I think, if I remember, we'll have a look at the agenda in a moment, but I think he's talking about experiences from the field this year. We've got a bunch of guys here, Bill and Martin and Dan and Mick, who are coming up from Australia. So Dan's definitely been to a few. Martin's originally from the UK, and he's coming over. Bill always has really good content. I know Bill's been doing a lot of deep dive Logic app development recently, so I've chatted to Bill quite a few times and sharing his experiences. Is going to be really good. I'm quite excited to see Mick. So Mick's a really good friend of mine. I've not seen him for a few years. Just the nature of how events have gone and that it's be really good to catch up and have a beer with Mick. I know Mick's got quite an exciting session lined up. Also, we've got Sandro just poking his head off the bottom of the screen down here. So Sandro, I think, is going to be talking about BizTalk migrations to Azure. And then we've got Steve Jan, who's going to be covering real world integration use cases. So we'll have a look at the agenda now. So let me clear my screen there. So a few days to go. I think just to call out the super early bird ticket here is still active till the end of the month. So I think it's the 28th that ends. There's also a virtual ticket if you're going to join us remotely if you can't get to London. So just make sure you check out those tickets while they're still on offer. So let's jump the sponsors for a second. So we've got some really good sponsors for the event. Microsoft are our titanium sponsor, and then Dakiru are based out of Sweden in Stockholm, and we've got Integration Team who are based out of Belgium. So they're big supporters of our community events. If you come along, try to just check out the guys from those two companies and just say hello. It'd be good to see how they're getting on. So in terms of agenda, we've got 2 days. So we've got 10th and 11th of June here. So first up, we've got Saravana. So Saravana is the CEO of Kovai, who are hosting the event. So he'll be just welcoming everybody. We've then got a keynote from Slava. So that'll be, roadmap and planning around what Azure integration services are about. We've got Wagner, who's from the Logic App product team. So this will be a really important session for people to help understand productivity related things for logic app development. We want to get more efficient and better at making it easier to create logic app solutions. One of the things we've tried to do this year is we want to mix up some of the Microsoft and community sessions. So you'll notice a bit of a alternate sessions to a degree. Bill's going to be talking about real world logic app workspaces. That was one of the things that the product team introduced a few months ago, which slightly tweaked how we build logic apps. And Bill's going to have been doing stuff in the real world with that and share his experiences. Kent's from the Logic App team. He'll be talking about some of the latest developments and what the team are doing with Logic Apps. So, Kent does a lot of YouTube and telling people about what's going on. And these will be announcements around some of the newer things that they're doing. So, that's going to be a really key session following on from the keynote. So if we move to after lunch now, so we've got Sandro, who's going to be talking about BizTalk to Azure migration. So a lot of companies are thinking about how they've transitioned their on-prem BizTalk up to Azure. So that'll be combining things like Logic Apps, Service Bus, API management, and Sandro will be talking about his real-world experiences of doing that. We've tried to include this, so there's some good sessions put forward by people this year where, Microsoft are making a big push around co-pilots, and we need to think about how AI and co-pilots help us in the integration world. So Martin will be talking about a solution he's worked on involving GitHub co-pilot chat. So we'll get some good insights, and we're trying to introduce thinking about a combination about what people need to be doing now in the real world, but also what things are you going to see more of in the coming months. I think that also touches on a bit the session with Matthias. So, as these BizTalk to AIS migrations accelerate, more companies are doing them, they're getting further down their journeys. One of the things that's going to be really important is for people to understand how to do PaaS networking. So Matthias talking about that was a session I was really keen that we had this year to help people deep dive. I think just to shout out, there's a couple of sessions me and Saravana are going to be doing that we'll provide more details a little bit nearer the time. We then have the APIM team down here where they'll be talking about what's new in the API space. So API Center is going to be really interesting and something people need to learn a bit more about. And then we'll have drinks and networking in the evening. So that's really day one. So if we jump up day two, if we have a bit of a walk through this. So Dan from Australia is going to be talking about rules. So it'll be interesting to see what Dan's doing here because that's one of the gaps in the AIS stack at the minute is about how to implement rules if you're doing a BizTalk migration. So Dan's obviously done some work with that kind of implementation. And it'll be good to see what he's found that worked really well from his experience in the real world and maybe how applicable that is to people doing BizTalk to Azure migrations. We've then got Clemens, who's going to be talking about Azure message brokers. Clemens sessions are always really inspiring and thinking about how to do complex problems like, high scale messaging with service bus, event grades and event hubs and that kind of thing. So it'd be really great to hear what Clemens' current thinking is for things like roadmap and being successful with messaging solutions. Then Toon's sharing with us integration mistakes that he's come across that he wants us to learn from. So if you're implementing solutions with AIS, there's lots of pitfalls you can fall into. That can be choosing the wrong technologies, implementing things in the wrong way. Learning from people who've been doing this for many years is a good way to help you avoid doing that. Now, again, we've got another AI session here. So if we can use generative AI to help us with logic apps, that's got to be a good thing from a productivity perspective. So Kent and Slava will be sharing some of Microsoft's roadmap for those ideas. Then if we jump a bit further down some of the other sessions here. So Mick's session. So Mick's doing healthcare solutions down in Australia. He's going to be talking about how they've integrated AI into a healthcare-based solution through Logic Apps. So that's one of these sessions where I wanted to introduce content for Integrate, which is helping people think about the types of solution you're likely to be building in the coming months and years, And I think that's going to be really kind of hopefully quite inspiring for people about ideas of what's the art of the possible. Um, so we've got Mike and Vlad here who are talking about APIM. So what are the latest things that the APIM team are doing? So we know they've got quite a few features in preview at the minute. So hopefully we'll get some good clarity about when these things will become GA and maybe some of the things they've got in their future roadmap. Steve Jan here. So I've seen a little bit of some of the work Steve Jan's done recently in the Netherlands. So he's going to be talking about a real world on-prem retail solution, migrating that to Azure integration services. What does that look like? What kind of things did they experience and come across? So again, more real-world experience, which is one of the things people often tell us that they get a lot of value from at the conference. Here we've got Nino. So intrusion tactics for offensive security in Azure integration services. So this could be really cool. People need to think about how their Azure integration solutions could be attacked, what vulnerabilities there might be, what kind of things could you do if you compromised an integration on Azure. So that'll be really good to get Nino's thinking. The more he gets into security, pulling in his experience historically from integration, I think is a really good one. I think that it's also one of them cases where a lot of people in my opinion anyway, a lot of people in the security space talk about websites and VMs, and there's not a lot of people who talk about integration scenarios. I think Nino's in a really kind of niche area there, and hopefully that'll be very sort of insightful for people at the event. And then I think Andre and Alexander are people I've not met them before, so they're obviously new. I don't remember them being at previous Integrate as well. So this will be people from the product team at Microsoft talking about OpenAI and Azure API management and how they can kind of combine those technologies. We've got the old better together tagline here, which is a common Microsoft one. So kind of enable an OpenAI to be used by applications through API management is going to be a good use case for people. Sorry, I'm getting so excited there. I'm throwing my pen on the floor. So that'll be good to see what they're thinking, and I think for me that should open opportunities for a lot of people to take back to their organisations. Okay, so we talked about sponsors. Venue. So here you can see this is where King's Cross is here. So if you're coming into London, come into King's Cross. York Way is like the main street down the side of King's Cross, and then just around where the Canal Museum is here, that's where King's Place is. If anybody wants a restaurant recommendation, I've been there a few times. Flatiron Steak's really nice. They only do Flatiron Steaks, so you'll be disappointed if you don't like steak. But there's quite a few good places around here. There's a few hotels on this street here as well, if people are looking about. And then kind of off the bottom of the map, there's a whole bunch of hotels. In fact, there's loads all around that area. So different venue from previous years to remember. But I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody in June, and hopefully we'll get some good opportunities to interact with the product team. Everybody can have beers, have catch-ups, see how everybody's doing, and let us know in the comments what kind of things you're looking to see at the Integrate Summit this year, and what who you're looking forward to seeing speak, who you're looking forward to catching up with. And if you see me at the event, please feel free to pop by, say hi. I'll be around the Turbo 360 booth. If you want to come and have a look at the product, we'll love to spend some time. If you want to chat about some of my YouTube videos or some of the things you're doing, please feel free to give us a shout. Take care, and we'll see you all in June.